Welcome to Factorio Brave New World recap number 10. My name is Nilas, and this is, yes, the 10th recap session of our playthrough. So what we're doing here is just in this one, we are recapping what's going on in our Twitch stream. So it's another week has gone by. That's another 12 hours of streaming. And if you want to catch up live, then I'm streaming this Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays over at Twitch TV/Nilas. So you're very welcome to drop by. This basically serves as to catching anyone up if you've been on vacation or you missed a few streams and you want to see what's going on in the base, or maybe you just fell asleep. That also happens. Anyway, we are at this position. You can see robots are doing a lot of work. We have most of the signs already built. We have our purple signs, our blue signs, our green and red signs. We do have a new science facility here. The one we do not have is actually a dedicated robots. No, that's not robots, it's rocket science. We don't have dedicated rocket science, and on top of that, we do not have a dedicated yellow science either. So those are the main topics for us to do as we expand. And as we get all of these, we are going to start to see massive issues in terms of sort of the structure of what we built. Also, and more nuclear power is also a good thing. Let's jump forward in time and see what happens after the first stream. Here we are after episode 27, the 27th stream. We're about 110 hours into the game, and what we see here is just only really a little flurry back and forth here. And but we do have built some things. We have moved our science facility up here. This is like the final size. This is going to support 1350 science, which means that now as soon as we have enough science, it's just going to steamroll in and just consume the science at a reckless rate. And that's that means that we are going to start seeing bursts of shortcomings or sort of bottlenecks that come up. We've also started the process here of simply taking out the entirety of our old base and replacing it with the hub. If you want to see this hub, this is part of my masterclass series, so do check out the hub on the masterclass. I wanted to build this one because we need all this stuff, so why not just build the hub that we've already doing. We are bringing lubricant in by robots. That's pretty simple, and you can see there's still like a lot of things down here that needs to be taken out, and that's the process we're working on. What we've also been doing is taking out the rocket launch here. We are now doing the rocket launches up on this location, and we have a dedicated location to make rocket launches. That's and it's working. This is carefully designed to deliver just over 1,350 science per minute, which is the same as all the other sciences. These are idle now, and the reason why they're idle is because we're not getting any solar panels. The reason why we're not getting solar panels is because this is the solar panel build, and it's not getting any green circuits in. So that's just the way it is at this point. What else have we done? We've also just built a little yellow science. It turns out that we really didn't need much here. We could just make do with getting everything in by robots. These are very low quantity items, like 5 per second, 10 per second, and 15 per second. So this is a bit more, but it's not a very long distance. And right now, all the science is stalled because we don't have the rocket science, and we don't have the rocket science because we don't have solar panels. We don't have solar panels because we don't have green circuits hooked up. So that's kind of just where we were on in terms of replenishing things. However, there's a really, really big thing that is gonna hit us soon. Is that once we take out all the stuff there, I forgot that I still need to make sure that I have iron put into the network. If I don't have iron put into the network, well, actually this is the case, right? If you can see here, this is not working. This is simply not working, and there's not actually iron, it's something else. So this is not working. Why is it not working? It's because it's not having any sulfur, because the sulfur used to come from here, but I have now killed it. See, it doesn't go any further than this. So I'm not getting, so watch this. We're not getting sulfur in here. Because we're not getting sulfur in here, we're not mining uranium, because if you're not mining uranium, we're not getting any of the different ones. These ones go in here and then get pushed into our production here. You can see a bit more is getting consumed, but since I'm not going to be taking any more, then you can see the problem here. It is actually right when it's about to happen. As this one goes in, these 2,000 here, and once this is empty, because I'm not requesting any of the bad uranium, even though I have 227,000 of them, I'm just not requesting it. That means this runs out. That means after a while, this one is not going to be 2000 anymore because I have quite a few nuclear power plants down here. Quite a few, like a lot. It's 4 times, that's 20, that's 80 nuclear power plants operational. They need to use to get some power in. So disaster strikes immediately as we start the next stream, or not immediately, after a couple of hours, I'm going to run out of the 2000. And it means 2 things. First thing, of course we have to fix it, but the second thing is I need a monitor to make sure that I get ample warning if something is about to run out, instead of getting a warning that my entire base, all 80 nuclear power plants, just shut down, because it was kind of difficult to get it back online. Let's jump forward in time and see, and we spent a bit of the next stream on fixing the power issues, but let's see what else we did. Let's jump forward. And here we are. You can see now this is more of a pattern we would expect. We can see science flowing into this location, and it comes in from various locations. It comes from yellow, it comes from the red and green, it comes from the blue, and it comes from the purple. It also comes from our rocket launch, and then this one, this is just where it goes out afterwards, picking up whatever there is in these locations so that can be shunted over here. It's all about just removing this one as fast as possible, which is going to be pretty quick. So we are now producing science. Let's have a look at the science production at this moment in time. Science, and just there we are actually consuming at exactly the threshold we want. So at this point I could just say, all right, mission accomplished, done. But I know that's not the case, because we are woefully undersupplying several different builds, and that's why when we activate this, we're going to start burning through all the buffers that have been built up at various parts of the base, and then we'll start seeing bottlenecks coming up. And you can see we now have blinky. This is because bottlenecks are already starting to occur, and the reason we have that is we have now built a little dashboard. So I'm just going to work on just explaining this dashboard. Basically, it only monitors things inside the robotic network. So it's hooked up to the network, goes in here. You can see on the red signal, all of these things are here. And that goes into a filter. Let me just, hold on, let me just go there so we can go a bit, we can click on things as well. There. So the way it works on the red signal, we have all the inputs. It goes in and filters only the automation science pack, and it feeds it into a warning that basically says if the automation science pack in logistics network is less than 2000, then it throws a warning. And that's going to be this one red, but only if it's less. And otherwise I give these, this is if it says more than 1000, more than 2000, more than 4000, 8000, 16,000 and 32,000. So right now we could just like, all right, it's more than 32,000, it's good. Military science, we haven't built it. I've also disabled this one because I don't want it to show an alert. Otherwise it would show an alert, but I know it's not there because we haven't built it. For this one, it's not as big a buffer as the other ones, but it's still something, right? 1, 2, 4. It's more than 4,000, but not quite 8,000, where I feel comfortable. I'm doing it for these items as well. Most importantly is actually here. We are doing it for our what's it called? Let's go nuclear fuel, yes. And if it drops below 2000, then I'll throw a warning. I'm also going to do it for both of these materials because we want those to be here, and likewise. But we are seeing here, there's a warning. You can see it says warning, rocket control unit is low and blue circuit is low. So that's a problem, and that's a problem. And this is where we are basically located right now. I'm also monitoring solar panels, accumulators, barrels of lubricant, and barrels of sulfuric acid, because those are also in the network. So anything that's transported in the network, I can monitor. I haven't yet devised a good way of monitoring how much iron and copper there is, or steel or plastic, so that some of those items that are not in the logistics network but on the stations, because I don't want to don't want to overdo all of our circuit networks by hooking up every single chest, because if I hook all of the chests up, I already have, but if I start putting conditions and calculations everywhere, then yeah, it's going to be a bit too much work. Let's use this as a case for seeing why is this one out. So we can go down to this one, the rocket control units. We can see why is it out. It's actually out because of lack of red circuits. Okay, we can look at the blue circuits over here. This is out because it's not It is working, yes, but it's not working fast enough. And that's going to be our big issue that we're going to start diving into, is the dawning realization that we do not have enough green circuits, and we don't even have, even though we have this build for green circuits, it just doesn't cut it. And yeah, so we have this. And also the last thing we have done is we have streamlined our bus, so it only contains the hub, the solar panels, the build of modules, and then the artillery, because those things are all just stuff we need right here on the in the base. So we don't need anything else. We've started designing the military science, but kind of get a bit distracted because we're starting to see the result of our dashboard signifying all the issues we have. So this dashboard is certainly going to help us a lot with pointing us in the direction of where we need to work. Let's jump forward, because at the next thing, it actually something interesting happens. And that's going to be like the green circuit. Let's really start to dive into that one. And here we are. This is the end of the last stream. So what we've done is we have been working on a new design of green circuits, because first thing I was noticing, we noticed back here in the previous session, we noticed that we were running out of red circuits. The reason why we were running out of red circuit was because there's only one train, there were only one train sent in here. Now I've converted it to 3 trains going in here, but then that just highlights something else being the issue. Because we only have 1 plastic train and we only have 1 copper train. So it's just a matter of time before the copper runs out as well. And the plastic as well. And once these are out, then we can expand plastic. That's not going to be a problem. We can expand copper. That is going to be a big problem, because there's really not that much room for copper here. And we have to assign additional trains for this one. We also had to assign additional trains here, because if I have 12 lanes coming here, and I can consume all 12 lanes, then I also need 6 trains inbound. But I haven't quite said 6 trains, I said 5 trains, because I think that's actually going to be enough. So now I have 5 copper trains inbound. As you can see, we've also had to add more stations here. We've consolidated some stations, basically the very low throughput, red, green, and rock and flying robot frames. They don't really use much. So in this case, we actually have this one going out, so it'll go out and go here, and then it'll, this one is the robot frames is idle, so it'll empty the train, go back, fill up, and before it has done that, it can go to the robot frames, because it can easily support both. So that's why we now have done that. We've also built this one. This is now a 24 by 24 splitter, and unfortunately we're not getting enough in, and we're starting to see the drag on the copper. So copper is certainly going to be an issue. How many we only have 3 inbound here, so that means it's only can support 6 lanes outbound sort of consistently, and of course I'm going to need way more. But that's not even the end of it, because as we did this, I realized, you know what, it just doesn't cut it. It's just not enough. I need bigger green circuits. So what are we going to do? We're actually going to have to build something where there's a green circuit outbound. It comes from a 32 by 32 splitter. It comes from 32 lines of green circuits. That's going to be here. And then I've only built 1, but you know, just copy paste. And then we've built some splitting here. This can certainly be improved, and it will be improved, but it has to go from another 32 by 32 splitter in and a 32 by 32 splitter in, and that comes from a number of stations. Now it doesn't need to have quite as many stations. In order for me to build this, in order for the amount of iron, the amount of copper I need in order to produce 32 lines of 32 lines of green circuits outbound is about 20 lines of copper inbound. However, I won't be consuming 32 lines all the time, so I don't need 20 lines in, which would be 10 stations. I have set up 8 stations. Yes, I think 8 stations, that means I'm getting 16 lanes in. So if I put 16 lanes into a 32 by 32 splitter, I'm going to take every other one, which is exactly what you see here. We're putting into every other one. And that means, of course, it won't be able to saturate all of this, but it will be able to saturate it enough that it can operate at almost peak capacity. But once we have all these stations, some of them will be idle eventually. And that means we can get like full throughput into all the stations we need. This is like the really end game build for our green circuits. We want to build like everything. But as you can probably imagine, the amount of copper coming in and the amount of iron coming in cannot be supported by this one. So we are going into a different phase of this this playthrough where we are just scaling up like insanely big, and we luckily have some credits left to spend, so we are going to do that. This has turned out to be much bigger than I thought. It's still, though, this is the size of it. I can actually I can compress this part, but it doesn't do anything, and that means we're going to get like a lot of iron coming in here. Again, the iron can't be expanded, the copper can't be expanded. I like this idea, but we're going to start designing something new. I think we're going to have to design it up here. That's kind of the location I have the most space available, or maybe down here, because I'm going to need a space of this size. So let's figure out where that could be. Or you know what, it could actually be up here as well, because it's already, all of this has already been bought. So it's a matter of figuring out where we have enough space, and then we'll have to find a way to get all the copper rerouted into the new copper location. It's going to be very exciting and very much like really big end game builds. And in the meantime, we're just consuming everything we can in the base, and it's really entering the late game where we have things working not as fast as we like, because one of these is running out. Which one is it? Actually, none of this is running out, so we should be at this moment running at an okay science production. No, it's half. Right, I mean, right now, yes, it's okay, but it's gonna run out at some point, and that's basically where we are right now. We are building like massive designs, and it's super interesting because I've never worked with a 32 by 32 splitter before, and I want to make these. And imagine when this comes in and we get like trains coming in. It's gonna be glorious. It's gonna be something nice and unique. I'm happy that we chose to do something different in this playthrough from what I usually do. Usually I built many small distributed locations, but in this case we have fewer massive centralized locations for green circuits, because I only want one green circuit built. So once I have this one here, I'm going to tear down this other one. That actually might be a location where we could build the copper then. Not yet, because we can't tear this down and build the other one yet. I have to build the whole thing here and get it up and running, and then only that can I reroute the stations, the trains to the new stations. So it's going to be a really big undertaking, and it's something we can definitely spend the rest of the summer on until we hit the launch on mid-August. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this update. So as you can see, we have now a dashboard that we can monitor. We have science operational, at least when it's not buffering, or when the buffers are full, we can build the science we need at the right pace, except military. And we are now going to just do another scale up with bigger builds for basically all the things we need. So that's gonna be it. I hope that you want to check out on Discord, or no, not on Discord, on Twitch, where I'm streaming, as I mentioned, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. It's super fun, and I am having such a good time, and I'm really appreciating all the people coming in from YouTube. So if you've been watching on YouTube, know that there's a lot of other people who have decided to come by. Maybe it doesn't fit, but maybe on a Sunday, then you can just drop by and say hi. I appreciate it. No pressure, but it's great to see people who maybe follow on YouTube but have never really engaged with. Anyway, that's gonna be it. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay effective.